I frozen again? Does everybody hear me?
Rabbi's not frozen and we can hear.
Okay, great.
I
Every once in a while, just send me a message that everybody hears me and sees me, because it's good for my psychology, my psychological advances. I just want to mention one thing. I got asked this question a few times yesterday. The Olam called in, and I'm very glad to see that the Olam is asking questions, and it mamish was a simcha gedola that everybody, there's a lot that ask the same question, and the question is mamish l'chayr gewaldige question. Yesterday I mentioned the question that no one ever brought up the issue of cholent bones, and that was my raya to show that in stomach, if no one ever brought up the issue of bones inside the cholent, so then in the stomach it must be that it's something that the Paiskim did not care about, because bones is not a new thing. And if bones is not a new thing and the Paiskim don't talk about bones, it must be that they don't consider this to be bishul. What's the reason why they would not consider this to be bishul? So we explained that perhaps it was because once it gets cooked to the level of when the food is fully cooked, so that softness is enough that you could somewhat eat the bone, you could somewhat suck out of the bone. And when you put all that together, that you could suck the bone and eat the bone, maybe that's called already, that it's considered bishul, called sarchle klape bones. I said maybe it's called Michael ben Yisai klape bones. But Al Kapanim, when you put all that together, it was enough of a reason that klape bones, the Poskim weren't so concerned and didn't machshav it as an achila, as a bishul, that you're doing something with the tayalas. I mentioned that nobody asked the kasha, and that's what the answer was. The only thing is that why did I make it like this? Ramosha already, this was really Ramosha's ha'ara himself. Ramosha in the 76th tshuva, this tshuva Rabbi said was written to the Radzina Talmidim, the Talmidim of Yeshivas, the vision of Talmidim. And he says like this, he says, I never heard anybody who was Mari the Shailer. He says, maybe because the Balbatim, Bain Europe, Bain Bekan, he says, Loya Yurigilin Likach Belel Shabbos for Europe. They didn't usually do Chazara anyways. Why? Because they would have to open up the oven. And when you'd open up the oven, they used to have some special some type of cement, some type of glue that they would put on the oven. And that cement would keep the heat of the oven in. And then once they had to remove that heat, that seal, in order to take out the food and maybe to put it back in or whatever. So Moshe writes over here, then it would be very hard to keep it closed and to keep it hot. So it was very uncommon for them to do any form of chazara. It was uncommon for them to do chazara. And he says also today, most people, they don't take cholent at night. Okay. It says another thing is that maybe the only bones that they put inside were these very hard bones from the shore that are so hard that it wasn't shaykh anyways to soften them up, and it wasn't common. The whole thing was, the reason I didn't, so you see Ramosha already has the aura. Ramosha is a bit of a peller by side. One of the biggest simonim in all of Hilchos Shabbos is Reish Nun Gimel. Reish Nun Gimel Mitzvah we're going to learn after Shin Yud Ches. Reish Nun Gimel is the halachos of Chazar. Chazar is something that in many kailim, and we're going to not go, we'll go a little faster than everybody else. Many kailim, they spend 6 months on Chazar, and they learn it. Anybody who just learned Daf Yomi knows the sugyas, Daf Lamed Vav, Lamed Zayin, Lamed Ches, and Shabbos, the hardest sugyas, and the plates can have pages and pages of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of pages of literature that has been written about Reish Nun Gimel. I venture to say that there's more written about Chazara Kimat than on any other, except for maybe Amir La'akim and Muksa, than on any other Drabanan in all of the Shabbos. It's the most literature written on Reish Nun Gimel. What Ramosha says over here, that it wasn't common to do Chazara and therefore no one was Moira the Shaila, it's mamish apella. You see clear that this was something that everybody discussed. Everybody discussed every single scenario of Chazara, every single possible imaginable case of Chazara, the place we discussed. To say that it wasn't common is it's very difficult, and even the case that Ramesh is talking about is difficult. He's talking about doing chazar to an oven, which we're going to learn that you might not be allowed anyway to do chazar to an oven. So basically, what Ramesh says to me was extremely difficult, and that's why I didn't mention it yesterday. I don't understand Ramesh. Ramesh is basically saying that the reason the Paiskim don't talk about bones is because chazar was an uncommon. But the whole Simon Reish Nun Gimel you could ask it on. That's something in Mitzvah Shem we're going to spend. Elamai, what was common? It was common for them to do things only on Friday night and to take off things that we would never in a million years do. We never take things off on Friday night and put them on Friday night. The only thing we do are the things that are going to be there on Shabbos, like the cholent. So I don't know, to say that teretz of Rav Moshe, I find very difficult. And to say that Matthias of Rav Moshe, I found very difficult. And therefore, I would venture to say, that's how I'll say it, I would venture to say that, like the way we said yesterday, that there definitely were people that did have cholent bones and they did have this Matthias, let's say chicken bones or things like that. It was a common Matthias for them to have cholent bones and chicken bones and all these types of zachen. And that Kanira, they didn't care about it. Like I explained yesterday, I'm not going to be myrish about this, but Kanira, they didn't care about it because they felt that once the food was mufashal kol sarchat, that the bones already would be at least considered a meichel soy, and even more so, and therefore there would have been a makim to be makel on doing chazar in general, not to be mesiachis to the bones. That's number one. Number two is I was asked another shayla before we go back into the studio. I was asked that when you take a blech and put down a blech, let's say you have an open fire on a Friday night, you want to take a regular blech and put it on the blech. So I was asked, when you take a blech and put it on the fire, so then it should basically spread the fire. When you're going to put it down, it's going to spread the fire. And that's ke'ena kibud. So I discussed yesterday that you're allowed to make a blech on Shabbos. I mentioned yesterday that you're allowed to make a blech on Shabbos. And so somebody asked, how could you make a blech on Shabbos? However, when you're going to put it on a fire, it's going to take the fire and spread the fire out. And ke'ena kibud. It does ke'ena kibud on the fire. It's somewhat of a, the Maisa, it's just not the Metzias B'chlal of the Metzias is that there's absolutely no scientific change in the flame. It gets spread, but there's absolutely no scientific change at all when you take a piece of metal and put it on the fire, unless you put out the fire, obviously. But when you have like a regular gas stove, or like we have, let's say, or something kadaima, if you just take a blech and put it on the fire, and the fire gets spread now, there's not one level that the fire now is bin nischaber. And the biggest raya in the world, Rabbi Sayed, is that the only thing the place can ever talk about is that you're not allowed to take a pot and put it on the fire for the reason that when you put it on the fire, you're over on chazara. But if you have an empty pot, that's mefurish that you're allowed to take an empty pot and put it on the fire. That's mefurish in the Shulchan Aruch and Gimel Gimel. Why are you allowed to take an empty pot and put it on the fire? Because no kiboy takes place. All it does is it spreads the fire that exists there, and it doesn't do any kiboy. Those are two hours from yesterday, and there's Hashem. I'd like to go weiter. There's one more nakuda of a kedam I want to mention. Then we're going to get back into Hashem today to the microwave. So is I saw an interesting chiddush in the Tiferes Yisrael. I always tell you, Rabbi Side, if you want to know all Hilchos Shabbos, just read the Tiferes Yisrael as a sefer in the beginning of Mishnah. It's called Kallus Shabbos. If you read this sefer, you'll know basically all the inyanim and all the shilos of Hilchos Shabbos. He talks over there so nonchalantly, so casually over there. He mentions, I'm frozen. Danny, I'm frozen.
No,
Rabbi's fine. Rabbi's fine.
Right. He mentions over there casually that when you take wax and you melt it, or if you take, let's say, metal and you melt it, so that's what we spoke about. That according to the Rambam, that's Bishul. Taking metal and going from hard to soft, or taking wax and going and melting it down from hard to soft, that's a Bishul. The Bishul derives of melting the wax, etc. Very nonchalantly, very casually there, he throws in, he says, shaiva and chema. He throws in butter. Now, in these long summer Shabbos, this is actually a negaya case. You can take a potato, and you, let's say you bake the potato on Erev Shabbos already, it's baked. Now, you'll take a upside down bekel, an upside down pan, you'll put it on top of your hot plate, and you'll do netzina l'chatchila because you're not putting it straight onto the hot plate, and it's already cooked. So we don't have real bishul over here because ain't bishul like a bishul. You'll take a baked potato out of the fridge. It's dry. You're not putting it straight onto the hot plate, and you go and you put it on an upside down pan on top of the hot plate. I'll get to the fact that it's previously cooked in a moment. Now, Kapanim, you take that potato and you put it on the hot plate. Givaldik, now you have a baked potato that's hot, right? It's already been cooked on Erev Shabbos. Now you have for Shal Shuddis, you have a baked potato, and you want to put on it some butter. A very normal, common thing. So you're allowed to take the butter and melt it on. You're allowed to take the butter and melt it down. Now there is a shaila of maybe moilid. And a couple of the shaila of moilid that you're making a substance go from hard to soft. The taka is a shtickle shaila about moilid. But it could be that if you're putting it on and it happens to be grama, so that means Hashem, we are going to learn the sig over here in Bishul, the sig is discussed. And just to give you a little bit of a preview, in Simon, And Tzivta Zayin over here in Shin Yeches, it talks about taking this empanada and putting it in a place where the shuman is nikrush and chayzev v'nimoyach. And it seems to be there is some type of a cool out here. It says v'yesh machmirim, the Ramah brings down v'makim tzarech yesh lismite. It could be, we'll talk about this, it could be that it's only when you're going from a solid to what's called a liquid in a lacha. We'll have to talk about this. It's a whole shaila if there's moilid or not. But it seems to be the only shaila will be moilid. Right. What about bishul? If I'm taking the butter and I'm melting it down, so now the Tiferes Yisrael says, forget about moilid. You have an issue to rice of bishul, because just like when I take wax, which is hard, and I melt it down and make it soft, so I went from hard to soft. So the Tiferes Yisrael over here just like throws it in, he sneaks it in over here. He sneaks it in right next to metal and right next to wax and butter. And he sneaks it in that you're making something go from hard to soft. When you melt down something from hard to soft, that's a problem. That's what he writes over there. Lemaisa, that's a moiridik chiddush. It's true that our butter is a separate sugya, like Rabbi Leibovitz is saying. We're going to have to don our butter because our butter, Rabbi Yisrael, our butter is pasteurized, and if our butter is pasteurized, we're going to have to get involved in the shaila of once something's pasteurized, is that called bishul? And once it's called bishul, so maybe now it would have the gather of ein bishul achar bishul, which gets involved in a very complicated shaila, because we know ein bishul achar bishul is like when you have a solid food. You have a potato kugel, you have a schnitzel. So we say ein bishul achar bishul when it comes to potato kugel and schnitzel and whatever, because it's a dry food. By liquids, we say yesh bishul achar bishul. If you have a water that was cooked and then it went down and got cold again, so then if you heat that water up again, so then yesh bishul achar bishul. So now you have butter that was pasteurized. Is a whole shaila. We have to first figure out if the pasteurized milk is called bishul. Then after the pasteurized milk is called bishul, we now are putting it into the butter. It becomes butter, which is a dry, solid item. And now when it's going to melt down, it's going to melt back into its liquid form. So is that considered ein bishul achar bishul because it's a yavesh? Or do I say, no, it's yesh bishul achar bishul because it's going to turn into a lot? But so let's not get into that sugya because the olam is not adept yet to talk about that sugya. But let's dive on the etzim shaila, Rabbi said. Come to the etzim shaila, the Tiferes Yisrael. Let's say we'll deem that pasteurization is not called bishul, and now we'll come out that pasteurization is not bishul. Okay, so pasteurization is not called bishul. So then Rabbi said, then you have another problem. Forget if it would be yesh ein bishul achar bishul. So now you have a problem. I'm taking butter, which is hard, and I'm melting it on my potato. I'm going from hard to soft, al yedei heat, because the potato itself is a davar gush, and a davar gush retains its heat. We know a davar gush is something that could cook. So you have a boiling hot potato, you put on an hour before shal shud, it's boiling hot. You put butter on it, and let's say, we'll talk about it a different time, but let's say the butter is considered uncooked. So you're taking something which is uncooked, and you're melting it down onto your potato. So then we're taking hard through a bishul process and making it soft. And the Tiferes Yisrael says that's called bishul. That's a great chiddush, and we're going to see one day that klape the moilid shaila. First of all, certainly the Sfardim are makel on the moilid shaila. It's only the Ashkenazim, anyways, that are going to have the moilid shaila. So this is like a very real shaila. Second of all, the whole idea over here, if you're putting something in a place where it's boiving grama, it's not so pashut. Especially if the butter melts into the potato and you don't see it after it melts. It's you're talking about that means the moilid shaila, we're going to wind up being makel, Rabbi said. So now this becomes a very real shaila. Are you allowed to take butter? And let's assume klape the pasteurization shaila will consider pasteurization not bishul. Okay, that we have to talk about. Even I'll admit that that's not so pashut. But let's say, you're one of these guys that has, because of corona, you have a cow in the backyard, and you're not into taking other people's butter. You know your cow has been going around with a mask, and you know that your cow has been watched and everything. So you milk your own, milk, and you churn your own butter, and you make your own butter. I think today it's becoming very popular and very normal. So your butter wasn't cooked on Erev Shabbos. So now you want to take your butter and put it on a potato. No, this is mamish. The Tiferes Yisrael says, das is bishul, because you're taking something hard and going to Rabbi side. This is such a big chiddush. It's such a big chiddush. I don't even know what to do. It's such a big chiddush. It's such a big chiddush. Rabbi side, The only time we ever saw the svara of going from hard to soft was when the bishul, like Ramosha told us, is doing something with the tayalis, with the chshivas. I'm taking wax that was hard and now it becomes soft, it becomes usable. I'm taking I take a metal and now the metal becomes soft or the metal became hard or whatever you do to it. There was an uftu that was a tayalis. If I say butter that was edible before, butter that was edible before is food, elamine, and it was food that was edible, totally edible. What did you do? You melted it to make it more user-friendly, we'll call it. You basically enabled yourself to smooth it out without having to undergo a process of shearing, right? It's not like when you have an apple, that you cook an apple, that the whole entire mitzias of an apple that is a raw apple and a cooked apple is a whole different mitzias, a whole different taste. And there the bishul is because it's a whole different mitzias. But Sheikha, when you have butter, so then the butter, the fact that you went from hard to soft, right? It's fair to say that that's what the bishul is. To say that the bishul is because you're going, now, it could be that it'll be bishul for a different reason. It could be it's bishul because it's no different than anything that I'm taking something that was uncooked and cooking it. Okay. But to say the reason it's bishul is because you went from hard to soft is a very big chiddush. The nafkamina is, Rabbi side, is that when you take something like butter and you go from hard to soft, it happens very, very quickly. And usually it's not enough time for it to actually become be'emes nisbash. Now, we're going to have to talk about this, Rabbi Isai. We're going to have to talk about this. But to make a long story short, I saw that the Shmir Shabbos in Al Kutzariches, he seems to be Mekel. He says a svar there. At first I thought he was saying the svar I'm saying. But then I see it's something different. Over there in Al Kutzariches, he says that anything that melts in a low temperature isn't bishul if you use it with a high temperature. That's not called bishul. In other words, anything that even in a low temperature would melt. If you take wax or a metal or and you try to melt it, it's not going to melt. So he says as far that anything that if you would take it and melt it in a low temperature, it would already melt. So then the fact that you use a high temperature shows that it's not a bishul process which made it go from hard to soft. It's not a bishul process. It's a melting process. And it's a faster melting process. That's his svara, which is a very big chiddush, right? I thought of a different svara, which I see now that the Das Torah says the svara, Das Torah in Simchat Hey, he says it's more of ke'ena svara of, we'll say it like this, ein toichen acher toichen. When you have a food that's already like a bread, a cookie, whatever, you have a food already, a processed food. So now when you go and toichen it again, there's no chshivas to that toichen. Right? If I have a food which is an edible food, to go and make an edible food from hard to soft using heat is not called bishul. Now it might be bishul for a different reason, Rabbi said. For example, to me it sounds like from the Tiferes Yisrael that even if the butter was already cooked, he would want to say that it's bishul because you went from hard to soft. So it doesn't matter that it was already cooked. You took an item, you went from hard to soft. And taking an item, going from hard to soft, they heat, that's a bishul process. That's what it seems to be. That l'chayra is a big chiddush. Kipshuta, that which we say, that when you go from hard to soft, or soft to hard, it's called the bishul, is when the shinui, the optu of chayim, is giving you a different product now. A different product. Basically, to be over and bishul, there's different ways. If I take from soft to hard and I got a different product, that would be bishul. When it comes to food, when I make it from non-edible to edible, that could be also a bishul process. It's a tikkun, a mile of etzim. There's other ways Rabbi said to go about this, right? It's basically the same idea that we heard from Ramosha. I see the Shvitz Yitzchak in Gimel in Bishul. He basically says this idea also that if something is roy for eating, the change of going from hard to soft is not a significant enough change. And that's why Rabbi said when it comes to croutons, the shkei de mark, everyone knows what I'm talking about, right? Those little yellow guys, right? The whole meaning over there is that, it's mutter. Why? Because they say since they're already deep fried, saying bishul achar bishul. No one ever dreamed that it should be a problem because you're making a crouton, which is hard. They heat, go to soft. No one ever dreamed of such a thing. Going from hard to soft with heat is not exeris a custom. Going from hard to soft, very good. Rabbi Philip is saying that that's considered, even when it comes to food, going from hard to soft might be considered a certain to a certain aspect, a kilkel ba'etzim. Basically, I don't know if it's a kilkel because you might want your food to be soft, but it's not a significant change. When food was edible, it's like the same type as far as ain't toichen achar toichen. And that's a very important side. Again, the actual potato shiloh, I plan on dining. What I want the oil to know right now is one thing: wax and tar, metal. When you take it from hard and go from soft to hard, etc. So then that's considered a bishul. But when you take a food like a crouton and a proton and a butter that was hard and you made it now soft, that's not necessarily going to be a significant change. There might be other reasons why uncooked butter certainly might be bishul for other reasons, because just like if I cook milk, it might be called bishul, but not because it's uncooked and not because it went from hard to soft. That's Adkan part one. And now, Baisai, I got good stuff today to talk about. We're about to have, this is a big day, Baisai. This is a good stuff. You all ready? We should have stretchy time a little bit, no? We're about to have a good time, Baisai. Rabbi Greenhouse, it's about to get Labor Day over here. It's about to get Labor Day. Oh, it's about to get Labor. Be careful, Pekanowski. You're in Australia. You could fall. Be careful over there. Okay? No, we're about to have a lot of fun. Baisai, I've been getting a lot of phone calls, and now I even have an email. People are sending me these electronic mail messages too. Welcome to the 21st century. Over here, I get a lot of questions about what I said about a microwave. I kept saying that a microwave, Rabbeinu Hagadol, Moshe Feinstein, Zeichet Tzadik Livroche, writes these words. He says, a microwave is yes bishul. Why would microwave yes be called bishul? Because the way he learns Rashi is that Rashi says that why is a sun not considered bishul? Because ein derech bishul dekach. So it says for Moshe, what does Rashi mean? After we explained it, the Rashi means ein derech bishul dekach is that it's not the derech for people to cook using the sun. Says for Moshe, that's a svara that patas you legamre. That's why it's not a told of the club. It's not the derech for people to use the sun when they want to come and cook. Why? Because it's very inefficient. It's very not normal. You're going to have to wait for the sun to come out. It's not an efficient way of cooking. Says Rav Moshe, but if I'll find you an efficient way of cooking, like says Rav Moshe, a microwave oven, says Rav Moshe, if I'll find you an efficient way of cooking, so Rav Moshe, that's going to for sure, says Rav Moshe, be considered a derech bishul. And Rav Moshe says a microwave is an issa deraisa, because it's a process of cooking which is as good as regular cooking with a fire. Now, Rabbi say, when you read Rav Moshe's tshuva, he says, and one day people will use microwaves even more than they use ovens, and they'll use microwaves the same way. And he says it's yoiser toiv. He says it's even yoiser toiv. The bishul process is even yoiser toiv than a regular oven. And you're going to see one day that it's a normal thing that people are going to cook with microwave ovens. So I said, Rabbi say, Rav Moshe's Rav Moshe, you can tell me today people don't use the microwaves for the processes of heating up food. So I said, you're telling me that Rav Moshe Zechariah Levracha answered the shaila without knowing the Messias? No, that can't be. No, that can't be. Rav Moshe knew that it's not going to be normal necessarily to cook chicken in a microwave, and it's not going to be normal to cook all types of this and that in a microwave. So I want to tell you something. Rabbi Slansky is saying it's normal. Now you better be very careful, Rabbi Slansky, because when somebody says something's not normal, and then somebody writes in, I do that, so then in certain places they would give you a certificate. That's very, very, so yeah, but maybe Rabbi Slansky's right. So I decided to look into this more because it bothered me so much. So I made a list over here of in this house. Now this house I consider to be normal. Right? I consider that my house is normal. Everybody agrees? Yeah, give me those yellow thumbs up if you all consider it to be normal. Right? Very good. Very good. Okay, I consider it to be normal. Very interesting. You can see who's not normal. Like greenhouse. Right? I certainly, consider the house to be normal. So I decided, first of all, before to do a little homework, Rabbi Side, what exactly do we cook in a microwave when we don't heat up in a microwave? So these are the things I found. Now, whoever is with me, give me yellow thumbs up at the point of when I say, first of all, Rabbi Side, the most normal thing in the world to cook in a microwave is popcorn. Right? And if you don't cook popcorn in a microwave, then you should be arrested. That's first of all. Second of all, very normal is you take milk and you put the chocolate powder in it, but you want to make a hot cocoa. So very normal to take milk and put it in the milk microwave and to have cocoa. Danny, you're going to get a certificate, Rabbi Katzman, a certificate. Okay, that's number 2. And people that are lactose intolerant should leave the Zoom. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3 is Rabbi Isai, melting cheese on things. We consider that to be bishul. Cheese is not cooked, Rabbi Isai. Okay, and now you take the cheese and you melt it on things. Meatloaf, Slansky, what's going on here? We're going to get to you in a moment, one moment. But this is the things in a regular setting is when you take cheese and put it onto butter, onto potatoes, onto pasta, onto a little pita bread or whatever, that's called cooking. You cooked it on, right? That's called cooking. These are all things that are certainly normal, that normal people that have that don't drool and that are not from institutions, they all do. Soy is the most normal thing. Erwin, do you not make soy dogs and things like that inside your microwave oven? And those things are raw, right? Those things are raw. And it's a very normal thing to make soy dogs and all those types of stuff. Now, even though you're going to come and tell me, Kinderlach, but I don't make chicken in there and I don't make meat in there, which I'll get to in a moment. But you're going to tell me chicken I don't make in there and meat I don't make in there and things like that. But if I have a whole entire gamut of foods that I do use the microwave for, so then of course that's called the derech bishul. And then the words of Ramesha do apply. Ramesha said, is this a derech bishul? Yes. The fact that I don't use this to cook 5,000 other foods, who cares? If I find you many foods in my house that I do cook with it, so then that already is enough to be called the derech bishul. That's already enough to be called the tolda. And when the day came that we got microwaves, we don't now necessarily make our soy dogs in the oven, our chocolate milk, our hot cocoa's in there and whatever. We don't do those things anymore. We don't make popcorn. What do? We certainly will cook it in the microwave oven. So it certainly is a normal thing to cook food, certain foods at least, in the oven. That's before I even begin. I didn't even begin yet. All right. Also, if I say quinoa, rice. Who here doesn't make rice in the oven, in the microwave oven ever? Right? Rabbi Greenhouse, do you make rice in the microwave? No? All right, you're off the Zoom. Who makes rice in the greenhouse? Not in the greenhouse. Who makes rice in the microwave? Who makes rice in the microwave? Rabbi Moyle, do you make it? Yeah, you do. That's a thumb up. Very good. He's with us. Right? No rice in the microwave. So you should be arrested. You should be arrested. Well, what's wrong with making rice? Philip, you're with me, right? Philip is not with me? You know, I'm turning this page to the other guys because you guys seem to be all evil. Shimon, you're with me? Shimon, you make rice in the mic? Oh, you're out. I'm turning you off. Right? Rabbi Brownson, you make, Dave, do you make rice in the micro? Thumb up. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Bronstein. Ben, do you make rice in the micro? No, you should be arrested. Rabbi Vogel, do you? All right. Go wear a white shirt. You're out of you're off. Stefanski, what about you? No, goodbye. Don't need you. Josephic, don't say the wrong answer. Do you make rice in the micro? Josephic's not a raya. If you guys remember when he was in the Kallus, he's not exactly a raya. Let me see your shoes, Josephic. You're not a raya. You're not a raya. No, the tradition soups I'm not sure about, Rabbi Isai, because the tradition soups, I think most of them are already cooked. I think the tradition soups, they're mostly cooked. But Rabbi Isai, the tradition soups are 80% cooked. They're not 100% cooked. And we all that going from Michael Brent site to Bishul called Sarkha is called Bishul. So I'm a supik, even in the Jewish world, if it has become a normal derech Bishul. But Rabbi Isai, you know what I need? Rabbi Slansky, get me like some, go goggle, give me some microwave recipes or something. I'm borrower that the average guy, they're not like us, Rabbi Isai. By us, we make a meal, we sit down Friday night. You know, the Goyim once a year, they have it's like a Thanksgiving meeting. Hey, what's this? How do you do that so fast? Hey, what's this? Hey, what's this? How to microwave salmon. Thank you. Goyim microwave salmon. Thank you. Go here. Give me the next page. Hey, he's doing this for me. I might see 5 minutes. Take a good look. Wait. Scrambled eggs. Look at this. I'm sure the guy. I'm always happy to share. First, you'll need a glass, eggs, a fork, and paper towel. Okay, go tell the Rebbitzin. Go get the Rebbitzin. I need her to make me an egg. 1 minute. 1 minute. We're gonna see if it tastes the same. Meatloaf in a mug. Oh my goodness, this is like a yontif. Oh my goodness. Rebbitzin, could you make me an egg in the microwave? Could you come here a minute? There's a recipe. Rabbi Slansky, bring me back to the recipe of the. Bring me back the recipe. No, here. A few friends have asked me. First, you will need a glass bowl. Do you have a glass bowl? An egg, a fork, and a paper towel and napkin. Use 1 quart bowl for 2 eggs here, but recommend the larger if you're making more than 2 eggs. Also, it's important to know the microwave. My in-laws, something about in-laws, little practice. Fine. I'll pardon you crack the egg. Keep going. I see the picture. Mix the egg. Right. Very good. And very good. Okay, so go make it. How long do we keep it in the microwave oven for? It doesn't say how long. Rabbi Slansky, what is that? Oh, cook
1 minute, then stir, 30 seconds, then stir.
Basically, okay, go for it, okay? 1 minute and stir, right? Let's go for it, okay. I'll go pun him. Now come back home, Rabbi, say, I'm borrowed that.
We've lost Rabbi. No, not lost him, but we can't hear him.
We could all go make eggs and salmon instead, apparently.
Maybe when the microwave goes on, it actually interferes with the Wi-Fi, and I'm not joking. I'm not joking.
Should we unmute the Ilam? Let the Ilam weigh in on their best microwave recipes?
Again, I don't know if we should be allowing this publicly.
You're unmuted. If you could share.
I think everyone is absolutely nuts.
In yeshiva, we made eggs in the microwave all the time.
Yeah, Yeshiva,
We're not human beings.
Challenge on
Closing
Tuesday.
on my screen. That was a little bit.
Everyone passed.
No, see. Avi, what do you do? Avi, what are you doing? What happened?
Evan, Rabbi cut out.
Erwin.
Avi's fault.
The Kumsitz Rabbi say, where's Davi?
I think the rabbi.
I'm on the line.
Who's here?
I think the rabbi got cut out after he said what he just said.
I got cut out. You got cut out.
Rabbi said, let him sing.
Back on.
Beautiful sing. Sing, you should mute yourself.
No, normally you can't hear them because it's on. Yeah.
I'm on the line. Online. Is there a microwave oven that's cooking or not?
לא אכלתי שום דבר.
See, I love your headphones.
People.
You got like frozen. Didn't answer my question.
Said whatever you want, go for it.
Thank you
But
for
like,
the message, Avi.
Because everyone's been unmuted because Kallus is temporarily offline.
Rabbi say.
Probably a recording.
I don't know. Oh, the rabbi is here, I think.
Being serious, if you turn the microwave on, it interferes with the Wi-Fi. Electromagnetic radiation, especially that Rebbe's router is next to his kitchen.
Maybe we should move that. Sounds like a good idea.
Good idea.
And move the microwave or move the...
Told you I want to buy the microwave.
I've ordered a cable so that Rebbe doesn't use the
Microwave. Got off my pants. Buy a microwave.
What happened?
okay, I heard.
No, see, episode solo.
Oh, so they're unmuted.
What kind of solo? We can't do solo today.
Why not? Lama lo, we have 140.
Okay, we're muted now. Now, Nussi, now unmute. We'll unmute just Nussi. Okay, Nussi, you're unmuted. Nussi, you're on solo right now.
What did I do?
Dovi said you're doing a solo? No, is that true?
I don't know. Then you should have done it yesterday. We would have done Reb Shai and Moshe, but today it's fake
Okay,
news.
so Dovi, take over instead. Dovi, you have the floor. Now no one's talking. You can unmute yourself, Rabbi. So whoever wants to sing, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, and then you could sing.
Avi, if you're the only one unmuted, that means it's on
Oh.
you.
Eitan, there you go.
Rebbe's been to a microwave store? Rebbe's been to a microwave store? Which microwave store? One without the payas? The microwave store?
What is everyone talking about a microwave? If you sometimes cook, it's okay. What is everyone talking about? No one uses a microwave to cook anything ever. Shalom.
Eggs.
Suck.
Popcorn.
I don't know. You
But
reheat.
you're not cooking the popcorn. You're popping the popcorn. No.
Hot roast.
King.
You reheat.
Instant rice.
Chocolate, melting chocolate.
I think everyone has to be admitted.
Yosef. It's the instant rice. It's totally the instant rice. It's not like normal to put
There's
rice.
no chance of making
Not like
whole grain
high
rice.
quality rice.
Not at all.
I never heard of rice in a
High
microwave.
quality
Please don't,
basmati
please
rice,
don't.
geschmack, Indian rice.
Please don't. Please don't.
High quality rice.
Yeah.
That's a steer.
Ow.
Pasta goes so much faster in the microwave.
That was a
Maybe you
racist
should
comment.
try it.
No,
Uncle
it's
Ben's
racist.
your rice.
You're out.
Right side. It's Yom Ha'atzmaut. Have a hot dog.
I had a fire in my building, okay? A fire in my building. A few minutes ago, I was learning, before this, I learned Seder, and I see smoke out of my building. I ran out with my kids. Fire department, there's these stupid chilanim made a fire in their apartment with a mangal, a barbecue. I'm not kidding you.
Sionim.
Sionim.
Sionim encompasses more people, okay?
Shkoyach. And the Maisa, it's crazy. What are they thinking? The Maisa, in the middle of learning Bishul about
1
fires.
second, they assume
and putting,
you assume they
They
think
should know you're suffering from OCD, you know?
no, they're putting a blech on it, the Maisa. These guys should need to put a blech on it. No, you don't want building with, there was smoke all the way up my, in the whole stairwell over here.
Guys, whatever, we have to be careful because whatever going to be said is going to be put on attorney time and it's going to be held against
Rabbi
us.
is down there.
Someone should read everyone the Miranda rights.
And Rabbi is re-clicking back in. He'll be on hopefully in a few seconds.
Baruch Hashem.
He's finished making eggs.
Aaron, they're gonna end up saying that it's the Harry making fires for Venus Bonham.
Now Rebbe can't mon us for making breakfast in the middle of shit.
Huh?
I think the reason why Rebbe got cut,
making fires.
I think Rebbe got cut off because of the microwave stickle.
Now you know why we don't have a microwave in Kallus, Rabbi said.
We don't have
Imagine
microwave.
the slowly microwave.
The microwave from Kolo. I give
A
up.
slowly microwave. Oh.
There's no microwave because the socks would burn the place up. It wouldn't work.
Microwave sucks, not bad. Does anyone see the Rabbi clicking in? He should be clicking in any second now. Does anyone see him click in?
I'm watching.
Oh, Dan, you're watching? He's not. That's not good. Oh.
Annie, by the way, the microwave radiation is contained within the box. It doesn't leave. It doesn't mess up the Wi-Fi.
That's not necessarily true.
It is for safety reasons. That otherwise, people would get radiation poisoning.
No, the amount of radiation that interferes with a Wi-Fi signal is a lot lower than what's dangerous to you.
Rabbi has the link.
Manny.
I sent it to you. I didn't get it. Just scroll down and it's there. I'm sorry I didn't copy it. Okay, now I recopied it in. So now Rabbi will just get it and just click on it. I'm sending it again right now. In 10 seconds, it should be there. It just hit send. It's on the way. It is. Oh, the item is okay. Rabbi should have it in 5, 4, 2, 1. If Rabbi hits refresh, it'll be there right now. It's a bit.cal, should say bit or something.
Very refreshed.
I stand corrected on the microwave thing. Apparently, you're right. Small amounts of radiation do interfere.
I go, Linus.
Ben, how are you?
The company. The company, everybody.
Yossi, can you please stop changing your name?
I did that one. Okay, I did. I did.
You did it?
I did.
Okay, whoever has your little kid there, what's happening over there?
Hello.
Yeah.
Leslie, when did you become a DJ? I like the headphones. You're looking fresh.
So you came back from Ethiopia?
Jamaica, my friend.
South Africa, right? Where's Levi? Where's Markovitz? Gave
Okay,
his
apparently
cricket.
there was an issue. The rabbi finally just got back on. He's in the middle of logging as we speak. And hopefully it should be a few seconds. He's actually
We'll be taking off real soon.
Real soon.
After a quick word from our sponsors.
I think we should do a little bit marvelous Midas machine.
There's some commercials.
We're holding a marvelous Midas machine number 1. Does anyone want to click in with Mr. Schnooky?
You
Midos are the way we act.
Midos.
Sorry.
We have a Mr. Hippopotamus here. I think we have a Mr. Hippopotamus. Who's Mr. Hippopotamus?
Mr. Dakota. Mr. Dakota about this.
I'm a hippopotamus. My top till my bottom is.
ABC, walk and see how long with
You gonna come over here?
Apparently, also, if your router is 5 gigahertz instead of 2.4, it won't interfere.
This never happened in Slonim. First time in Slonim history.
Happy.
I don't know about you. I'm still there, all the way.
Happy.
Hearts in Slonim. Sitting there in the front row.
I wanna.
Avi, where's Avi?
Gabriel, what do you want to say to the boys? Stick your head in. You can see everyone? Everyone can see you now. Say hi. Say shalom, מה נשמע? הכל בסדר? נו? נו?
Singing.
Shaggy is connecting now.
Okay, Chendrach.
Were the eggs at least good?
הולכים למטבח.
הולכים למטבח.
עכשיו אני רוצה לשחק.
אתה רוצה לשחק?
אני רוצה לרון.
Chaim, L'chaim.
All right, Connor, are you at home?
I'm at home with my favorite mug. I have 100 people watching me. That's good.
Mug.
Rabbi Perkowski.
There's I've seen 30 different mugs so far.
You think it's only 100. You're also being streamed live on YouTube.
Annie, the house looks great. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry, I'm not camera shy. Maybe I am. Anyone got something to say about Yom HaShmotz?
Myra, it's because you're in Kollel. That's why.
I think Yom HaShmotz is a day for kinnis.
Okay, everybody, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go. I'm having an issue with the phone, with the internet, which you know how much I love. So, Bez Hashem, I'm trying to clear it up. In the meantime, I'm going to continue on the phone. Does everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear the
all right, Rabbi. All right, I'm trying to get it soon. In Hashem, it'll be back. So, Akapanim, we see from over here, Rabbi Yisai, that L'chayra, Ramesha, we see from here that Rabbi Moshe didn't know what he was talking about. It's borrowed that there are foods that it is yoser kedai and yoser geschmack to cook in a microwave, and it is yoser convenient. And by the goyim, it seems to be that this is definitely a normal way of life. Once you see that you have enough people that it's considered the norm, so then you can call it, like Rabbi Moshe says, a tolda. It's definitely derech bishul, and it's aina doime to the chama. Now I know you're going to ask, you're going to say. I know you're going to ask, you're going to say that, l'chayra, what do you mean? We're going to talk in Mitzvah Shem all about a dud shemesh, which I hope to get to today because of what happened. It could be, we might not. But Al Kapanim, you're going to ask that there's something called the dud shemesh, the hot water system, the dud shemesh, that we all know is something that it's very, very common. We all know that it's a very common thing to have hot water, heated up solar-powered water in Eretz Yisrael. So then you're going to say that now it became derech. It's a normal thing to at least cook water in a dud shemesh. And once I'm telling you that it's normal to have one thing cooked in the water, so then just like it's normal to have a microwave, that became normal. So maybe it's normal now to go and heat in the chama, and then it becomes bishul b'chama, becomes a normal thing. Maybe you'll say that. So the truth is that it's not a kasha. It could be, it's true. It could be that if we will all of a sudden make the chama, the sun, more efficient way of cooking, so then it's not exeris cost. The fear of Moshe, the idea was that in the times of Chazal, it wasn't normal to cook in the sun. But if it could become normal to cook in the sun, then maybe somebody would say, the fear of Moshe becomes derech bishul b'kach, and such a thing could even become a deraisa. It's not a kasha for Moshe, because Moshe is telling you that was Metzias back then. If the Metzias changes, the law could change also. Just like they didn't have a microwave back then, so the sun also, the ability to use the sun, they didn't have. So then maybe someone will say that Lefi with Moshe today, the sun is taka considered now deraisa because it's the normal way of cooking. But that Rabbi Sai is anyways a toyus. In other words, it wouldn't bother me if such a thing is true, but it's anyways a toyus. First of all, it's a toyus because there's a big difference between the sun and the microwave, which is that in the sun you can find that there's like one way to one thing that a taka cooks. This is the water, etc. But as a general, even if you'll say solar paneled electricity and things like that, but the heat, the only thing that we find that they cook solar powered is water. So you found one product that gets cooked with water. I don't think that becomes normal enough derech bishul that you could say it's so now it becomes derech bishul that now it becomes a tolda. That's a very strange thing. You have one thing that you can cook, that already not. The microwave has tons of things that you can cook, and like we saw, the Goyim used it all the time. The fact that you don't doesn't take away from the fact that it is considered a derech bishul if it's something that there's enough of a population out there that will. That's number one. But number two, which is even more pashut, is anybody who has a dud shemesh knows that that's not really a kasha. Because the dud shemesh is not something which is the most efficient thing, because it only cooks at certain times of the day. It only cooks in the day. In the wintertime, it doesn't work. In the summertime, it depends if it was a cloudy day. And even if it wasn't cloudy, but if I want to have a 12 o'clock at night a shower, then I can't use it. It means it's mahus. It's not something which is an efficient, normal derech bishul that I would always use as a substitute. It's fakert. It has a lot of chesroinus. They set up a system that I'll be able to get the koyach of the sun and enable it to cook water and to save money, etc. But it's not something as a norm that when a person would want to make a decision, there's nobody in the world that says, I want to make hot water, go take a dud shemesh, turn it on, and allow the sun to go and heat up his water. It's something that a system that works the entire day through the entire day. If you have that system going, you're going to have hot water. But it's not the shot that if a person wants to come to cook, he's going to go and cook now water in the sun. It's not something that there's a metzias. In a microwave, ganz fine, we understand with Moshe, and that's why Moshe holds that the cook in the microwave till today, even with the metzias of today, it would be taka a deraisa. Now, I want to go weiter by Isai. I'm still working on the computer, and we're still working on the egg, but I want to go weiter by Isai and to tell you two other svaras that are said over here, which are very important for the upcoming sugi of the dud shemesh, of using a hot water system on Shabbos that is solar powered. The shita of the eglei tal. The eglei tal is brought in a few places. I guess in the eglei tal, it's in Oifa Mem Daled on page 129. Over there, the eglei tal says, what's the pshat in this Rashi? Rashi says, why when you cook in the sun is it mutter? Rashi says, because ein derech bishul b'kach. We saw one pshat already. The eglei tal says a different pshat. He says the same kashas that we asked. He asked, how could you say that ein derech bishul b'kach? It should still be at least a shinoi. And if something is a shinoi, Says the Eglei Tal, the Sagat Shaver, it should still be an Issa D'Rabbanan, and Rashi says it's Ein Derech Bishul, but the Gemara says it's Mutter Gomer. What's going on here? And the Eglei Tal says the Yisai that we spoke about last month, a big Yisai from the Eglei Tal, that there are two types of Shinui. There's a Shinui, says the Eglei Tal, which is a total change in the result, in the Teitzah. The Teitzah is a different Teitzah. When I take a fork and I shovel the ground with a fork as opposed to with a shovel, I'm going to get the same result. I'm going to get a hole. But sometimes you have a shinui, which is such a shinui, it makes the result be a different result. The Eglei Tal explains that if you're a shinui in the result, that's called a shinui in Kol HaTarkula. That's a regular shinui in Kol HaTarkula that we find not just miyuchet Hilchos Shabbos. When you have a shinui that the whole result is a different result, that's not just a shinui in Hilchos Shabbos, that's a shinui in Kol Tarkula. Mashein Kain, if it's a shinui in the Maisa, but the result is the same. I do something strange. I carry in my foot. I carry something through a Rabbin. The result will be the same, but the Maisa is different. That is miyuchet the Shabbos. That Melechas Machshavos. That's what the Torah only asked it when you're doing it in the most normal, efficient and effective way. Says the Eglei Tal, tremendous chiddush. He says, when you have a shinui, which is a shin in the result, and it's a shin in Kol Tarkula, then on Shabbos there's not even an Issa D'Rabbanan, because that's a totally different thing. The Torah never spoke about such a thing. Masha'en Kain, if you have a shinui, says the Eglei Tal, which is a shinui that the result is the same. It just wasn't done in normal, efficient Maisa. He said that's a shinui of Meleches Machshavos, and we know already all the Melechas Machshavos time that there's a tour of Melechas Machshavos. Chazal just gave one klolius dikah d'Rabbanan. If Kiveger says even by Misasik, we made an Issa d'Rabbanan. How can you make it d'Rabbanan on Misasik? The guy doesn't know he's doing the action. The answer is that they made one klolius dikah d'Rabbanan on anything that's not Melechas Machshavos. It's a d'Rabbanan. So therefore, if I carry in my foot, or if I shovel with a fork, but I get the same result, it's a d'Rabbanan. But Masha'en Kain, if I do a shinoi which takes it and makes it into a totally different result, it's a totally different item, and I'll give you the example in a moment. So then it's mutter gomer, it's not even it's a d'Rabbanan. Says Eglei Tal, moyer de kechiddush. He says, if you cook the korban Pesach in Chamei Tveria, the Gemara in Pesachim has a suffix if it's considered bishul. We know that you're not allowed to cook the korban Pesach. You have to roast it. And there's an isser if you cook it. But if you cook it in Chamei Tveria, if you cook it in the sun, so then that's not called bishul. Bishul b'chama is not called bishul. So he says, what if I cook it in Chamei Tveria? So he says, so that's a whole shayla in the Gemara. So he has to catch it. What's the difference? If I cook it, it's l'maisa, the water makes it hot and it cooks it. Says the Eglei Tal, no, if you see that it applies to Kol HaTarkula, says the Eglei Tal, that means that the korban Pesach, when it is cooked in the sun, is going to taste different. It's going to taste different. When you cook something in the sun, it's going to taste different. And Mitzvah Shem in a moment, hopefully when I get the computer back and when I get my egg, we're going to taste this egg and see if the egg in a microwave tastes any different. If it tastes different, says the Eglei Tal, so then that's a shinui in Kol Tarkula. If it's a shinui in Kol Tarkula, that's why you don't even have an Issa D'Rabbanan. So the Eglei Tal, that's Shan Rashi. Rashi says bishul b'chama is mutter. Why? Because ein derech bishul. Rashi means because when you cook something in the sun, it's going to taste totally different. And besides, it's not even potter aval aser. It's going to be legamre mutter to cook in the sun. Lefi the Eglei Tal, what lemaisa comes out with the microwave. So now you're going to have to taste the food in the microwave. Does the food in the microwave taste different? If the food in the microwave tastes different, so then l'chayra, it's going to be l'chayra mutter. It'll be mutter. Obviously, you have to get the microwave on somehow, right? You have to have let's say the case that we spoke about, that the guy is turning on the microwave anyways, and you're just throwing in your food, so you did nothing wrong. You know, the guy is anyways doing the food for himself or whatever the case might be, right? So then it'll come out that the feed Eglei Tal cooking in a microwave is, and the truth is, I could say a different case. Let's say you have a chayla and for some reason you need to use the microwave on Shabbos, or as opposed to using an oven, so we would say for sure use the microwave. Why? And the feed the Ramosha, I don't see why. It's the same bishul. But the feed the Eglei Tal, so if it tastes different, so then the only thing you're doing is electricity to turn on the microwave. There are some sheets that all the electricity is Rabbanan. Elamai the Bishul, according to the Eglei Tal, if we prove that a microwave tastes different, if the food tastes different in the microwave, so then it's going to be an Isser, it's going to be Mutter Gomer. Only the Isser is be the electricity. Right now, I'm going to go and check in the meantime. My wife is trying to get the computer to work. So let's see if she made my egg in the meantime and see how my egg, if my egg is coming out. Is the computer not working still? The computer's not working still? Okay. Oh, here's the egg. The egg is here. Oh, I can't wait. Danny Katzman, my wife is in the background saying that I don't have the right password. Is there any way you can give me another password so that I can get on the computer?
The password is correct. It's Kallus, Kallus. I presume the Rabbi.
It's Kallus, but it's not going. It keeps on saying what? All capitals, and it's not working. Okay. Well, I guess for today you're gonna have to just trust me when I eat this egg. Let's taste the egg. 1 second. All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shakol yeh bidvarai. How about it tastes like a regular egg? 1 minute.
Not like a master jug?
It's a very interesting looking egg. The white part tastes like the scrambled egg, like the white of the scrambled egg. The yellow tastes like the yellow yolk. Wow. It's unbelievable. But I'm a changed person forever. Oh my goodness. This is like a yontif. The white part tastes like the scrambled. This is it. I'm a new man. The white part tastes like the scrambled egg, white, and the yellow tastes like the yolk of a, and it even looks like it. Oh, this is mamish yontif. I want to thank you, Rabbi Slansky. It's such a. Oh, this is most wonderful. Oh, this is so delicious. I'll eat it later because this is just such a simple.
So no tachanun mincha because it's yontif?
Yeah, it's mamish. For such an egg, you don't say tachanun or such an egg. Akapanim. So the feed egg leital, the microwave egg tastes the same. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if it tastes the same. It tastes different than how I'd make an egg. I'm not sure, but it doesn't have some weird, strange taste to it. So I don't know. According to the egg leital, the microwave would be a viable eitzah. The microwave would also be a deraisa. The truth is, Rabbi, you can ask a kasha on the egg leital. You ask a kasha. The egg leital tells you that once something is a total shinoi and the result is different, then once the result is different, it's going to taste different. That's a shinoi called tarkula, and there's not even nitzah derabanan. That's egg leital. That's why in the sun, it tastes different. Egg leital seems to learn water that was heated up by the sun is going to taste different than water that was heated up in a fire, and therefore it's a different taste, and therefore it's a different result, and therefore taka is not going to, I don't know, maybe water in the fire is going to take out the bacteria. Maybe water from the sun, when you cook it up, doesn't take out the bacteria. But the egg leital says it's a different result, and therefore you're not even going to have an issue. You can just ask a kasha on the egg leital. At my side, when you cook something, it tastes one way. When you roast something, when you bake something, it tastes a different way. Tzli tastes different than bishul. So according to egg leital, why am I over on an issa deraisa on tzli? It's a different taste. It's a different result. I'm using fire and it's a different result. So I guess that's not a kasha, I suppose, because you're using, I don't know. Why is it not a kasha? I don't know why it's not a kasha. I guess maybe you'll say that the egg leital anyways needs to come onto Rav Moshe because typically that it should be a tolda anyways. So I'm a little bit misupik, and then you'd anyways need the egg leital to say, but something that's such a normal derech of cooking would anyways be a tolda. So that's a baisai. That lemaisa is that's the sheet of the egg leital. I must tell you that Stama Shaila that the Ger Rebbe asked. He asked on the Gemara that has a suffix by the Korban Pesach. That l'chayra by the Korban Pesach, it says that if you cook the Korban Pesach and the Chametz Tveria, the Gemara is a suffix. So Ger Rebbe affected the kasha once. How did they get the Korban Pesach outside Yerushalayim? There's a psul of Yaitse. You're not allowed to leave Yerushalayim. So how's it negaya to discuss if you can cook the Korban Pesach in Tveria, you can't get to Tveria. So what's the whole need then if you cook a Korban Pesach in Chametz Tveria is considered cooking? How are you not allowed to go to Tveria? Because it's going to be a psul of Yaitse. So some want to say that there maybe are hot springs. It's a concept. Chametz Tveria doesn't mean Chametz Tveria. It means, hot springs. And if there'd be hot springs in Yerushalayim, okay. But I think the Ger Rebbe, the Ger Rebbe said different shot. I think the Ger Rebbe said, the Ger Rebbe, I think this was the basis rule. I think he said that it means that they used a thurbis. And he said a riesige chiddush. He said, even though we know Kli Sheni is not Mevashal, but a thermos, something that insulates, the whole point of a Kli Sheni is that the walls get cooled down. But if you have something insulating like a thermos, so that would have a din of a Kli Rishon. So you took the thermos all the way from Tveria waters, and brought it to Yerushalayim. But this sounds a little bit chiddush. I guess when we get to Kli Sheni, we're going to have to don this, I think you're going to have to don this. But Akapanim, I want to be Messiah. I know it's late, and I know that we had a little bit of issues today. Let me be Messiah, Rabbi Isai, with one last Shaila, one last Shita. The Shita of Goyin HaGadol Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, how he learns the Rashi. Goyin HaGadol Shlomo Zalman Auerbach says, when Rashi says if you cook in the sun, that it's called Bishul, and Rashi says, Ein Derech Bishul Bekach, says that Goyin Rav Shlomo Zalman in the Mincha Shlomo has a whole tshuva about this, in the 12th tshuva. He says that what Rashi means is that when you're not using fire, anytime the word Ein Derech Bishul means, Derech Bishul is with Eish. That's it. And if you're not using fire, that's not Derech Bishul. That's the Shita of Rashi HaKadosh. When you're using fire, it's called Bishul. If you're not using fire, it's not called Bishul. According to Shlomo Zalman, a microwave is Vadai not Bishul. And according to Shlomo Zalman, there's nothing to discuss about the magnesium case that we spoke about. And all these cases, you need fire. Without fire, it's not called Bishul. But there's something unbelievable over here in Shlomo Zalman, and I'll be Messiah with this. Unbelievable thing. He's talking over here in the tshuva about these immersion heaters that they used to take an electric current and shoot it through the water. Today you don't usually have that because the metal itself gets red hot. So that would have a din of an ish. But he was donning on electricity itself. So he said, I told the Chazanish, the Chayra, if you take electricity and shoot it through water, that's for sure not Bishul. That's for sure not Bishul. Why? Because he went with his Chiddush that it's not ish. If it's not Eish, nothing to discuss. Then you're not Bishul, you're not a Tolda, you're not anything. That's what Rashi means. Ain't Derech Bishul means you're not Bishul. Bishul is with fire, Vizel. Not the Derech of Bishul, not with fire. So he's talking over here about the Poiskin called it a Mazleg Chashmali, this electric fork. It means you're shooting a current through the water and with the friction cooking it up. So he told the Chazanish, he told him, it's like Mivashal be told his Chama, right? And he said it's potter from Chatis. So he says, I want to be mefarsim this, he told the Chazanish, to the Batei Cholim. So he said like this, he said, the Heshavli, the Pshutis, he said, no, it's Pashit, like the same way there's a concept of a Tolda of Eish, just like there's a concept of Toldas Eish, which you're chayiv on. You all know Toldas Or, like we spoke many times, the hot blech that was heated in the fire has now the din of an Eish itself. So he says, the same way there's a Tolda of an Eish, so too, listen to this, everybody, what's a Tolda? A Tolda is a child. If I say, what happened? What's the stage before the child comes out? Pregnancy. That's called what? An Iber. Said the Chazanish, the same way there's a Tolda of Eish, something that was heated up and is a result of the Eish, I think there's also an Iber of Eish, and a pregnancy of Eish, Kain Iber Shal Eish. The thing that, the electric current, since electricity causes Eish, it's an Iber of Eish. And he says, that you chayiv on a tolda, you chayiv on an ibr. So he says, if you take an electric current, it's called an ibr of Eish, and just like a tolda of Eish, you chayiv on an ibr of Eish, you chayiv on. So he said like this, listen to this, Noidus Palesi or Shlomo Zalman that I was in spoil. He says, the Yaldis Haisabi, and I was a little bit immature. He says, so I told the Chazanish, only Rishonim can say such a chiddush gadol kazeh. So he said to me, Ahu Chazav Eishev, to me, L'daiti, Pashit. You don't need to be the Rashba to say such a thing. In my opinion, it's Pashit. The Shlomo Zalman goes on to say that you should know it's tabua to me, and even today, Gama Yoim, I don't understand it. So he says, hooray, the electricity is not the thing that causes the Eish. The electricity is what's Meshav Shef, it causes friction. And the friction is caused as a result. It's not like at the end of electric currents, all of a sudden there's fire. The electric current does something. It causes the friction, which Mela causes the fire. But the Zerem Atzmai is not Shaykh Klal. It's nothing to do with Eish, not in Tchila Seif. And Shlomo Zalman says he doesn't understand this. But I saw in the Sefer Shvitz Yitzchak that they asked the Goyin Shlomo Zalman, the Chazanish, on the 19th page over there in Perek Beis. They asked him, the Chazanish, L'chayra, a microwave, he should agree, is not going to be a bishul be'esh. Why? Because even the only reason why the Chazon said electricity is considered bishul is because the electricity causes fire. Here, it's not the fire it's not the electricity caused the food to cook. It's that the electricity caused a bunch of waves that shake up the molecules inside the food, and that's what cooks the food, the friction that's moving the molecules inside the food. So he said, so the Chazon Ish should come out that it's not considered an Eish, and therefore you shouldn't be over on a Bishul D'Oraisa. The Rosh Hashanah says over there something which I did not understand. He says, no, it's still it's coming as an Iber of the Eish. It's still, even according to the Chazon Ish, even in a microwave, it'll still be considered a D'Oraisa. Akoponim, a local Maisa, Zicher yes. The fear of Shlomo Zalman, Zicher Nish. According to Shlomo Zalman, it's not an Eish, it's Zicher Nish. According to the Chazon Ish, Yishladin. According to the Egg Tal, I just had the egg doesn't taste any different. I don't wonder out loud that maybe the Egg Tal is going to have to anyways be nachas to the side anyways of Moshe, because what's he going to do with Sli? So a microwave, according to the Chazon Ish, I don't know. According to Shlomo Zalman, it's not the Raisa, and according to Moshe, it is the Raisa. This magnesium stuff. So the fear of Moshe, nah, that's not the Raisa, because nobody uses this magnesium stuff. It's not the Raisa. That's not the Raisa. The fee, Shlomo Zalman, that's not an Eish. This is not an Eish, right? So if it's not going to be an Eish, then the I don't see why such a thing should be the Raisa. The only thing that you can clear is that maybe this magnesium stuff is a shaila of maybe you can clear that the way it gets cooked is it's maybe told as chama. Because what you do is you break the magnesium into salt water, and then the reaction makes hot water, which we're calling chama. So the making of the water, that's considered chama. That's you actually make. But the problem is then afterward, how does it cook the food? It cooks the food with steam. So what's cooking the food in the magnesium water? The steam that came out of the sun. So that might be called toldas chama, because what's cooking the food is not the hot water. It's the hot water makes steam, but I'm not sure if that's true, because you see the sun right there. That's what I'm something about. The nafkamino B is that these meals have dry foods that were previously cooked, so that for sure is not a problem. Because they if they have liquid on the food, sometimes it has like foods with sauces and stuff. So then that would already maybe be considered yes cooking, because yesh bishul b'davar lach. And mit Hashem, I'm sorry about all of the technical issues that we had. Everybody say it's big agvis nefesh when we have those technical issues. I hope tomorrow, Bez Hashem, that we'll have no issues, and be Bez Hashem. Be patient. I don't know what happened today. I guess because we flashed on the microwave. I don't know. I don't know what happened. We didn't have siyata d'shmayim. I hope the shir came clear. Everybody say tomorrow, Bez Hashem. It's a ma'aseh satan. The stomach has to do with the Iyar or something like that. I don't know. Everybody say Bez Hashem tomorrow. Let's try the best of the talk. Bez Hashem. Everybody is gone. I hear everybody. Anybody hear me? I'm talking to myself. Rabbi Sai. Rabbi Sai.